Hello, everybody. I am Angelica Underwood, and I love to connect with successful entrepreneurs who share their expert profit secrets during my live webinars and live radio show, as well as my podcasting series. And I am committed about getting you what you want in business and in life. I find the right experts that have the answers you have been searching for. We have a lot of changes, a lot of challenges all the time that happen in our lives. And because of that, I always find that right expert that will help you be able to come up with solutions to your problems and be able to overcome them. And today I have an amazing speaker with me, and I would like you to also welcome her. It's Rebecca Hanson. Thank you, Rebecca, for being on the show today.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
I would love to introduce you to the audience. And I am interviewing you, so that was coming out. So, Rebecca Hanson is a professional astrologer, numerologist from Denver, Colorado area. Now, she has been also an intuitive at all her life, and an astrologer for 40 years, and has incorporated numerology into the mix in the last several years. And it's really exciting because I met her through this journey in discovering astrology. I mean, I've been interested in this arena, and that's how I met her, through an Astronumerologies Alliance, and she is phenomenal. I mean, she even helped me with some of my challenges and situations. So she works with highly conscious clients and entrepreneurs to help them discover their purpose and embrace their inner power to show up authentically. And that's what I always recommend, that you walk into your power and you really take control. And it doesn't matter that you're in the midst of chaos, because you can find the joy in every moment and every opportunity that you can. And that's what we call it at my other work, OFIs. You find opportunities so that you could be successful. So anyways, we have, do you want to add anything that I probably left out?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I started out working with just regular people on their own spiritual growth. And the more I got into it, the more I ended up being around entrepreneurs. And astrology and numerology both give you such a roadmap. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of timing and stepping into that alignment. So, yeah, it's an amazing journey for me. I love seeing people empowered. That's what really juices me up.
It does. And that's what I tell a lot of people that I work with, that everything has a frequency. Everything that we look at also has numbers, I mean, we have address, we have social securities. That's how people find us. I mean, today I bought my Faith, a little puppy, and instead of giving it a name, it had a number with even the alphabet. I mean, everything. We have license plates, everything you can think of. It's going to end up with numbers, right?
Right, and numbers carry such a vibration with them that once you know that, I mean, it's an ancient divination art, and we're getting now to the point of where more people are stepping into their own intuition and exercising that muscle, and astrology and numerology is all just a part of that. And what I find is that when I combine both the numerology and use it in the traditional ways of numerology, I combine it with the astrology. So I look at the planetary positions, the number of degrees that they're into a house, and so forth. And with all of it combined, it gives me a lot of insight. And then I take that into a person's life, and you can schedule and use. That's when you get into using it as a roadmap.
Okay. So I know that you have a PowerPoint that you might want to, I don't know if you want to share it right now, or how do we proceed with this
Well,
right now?
we could. I recently put on a webinar, and I've got a few of the slides that I used for that. To
Okay.
kind of introduce it, there are basically what I'm giving people is 3 secrets that most anybody can kind of look at and use. You don't have to geek out on it like somebody like I would. I mean, I go really, really deep into it, but just the average person can use some of these things that I'm about to share. So we
Okay.
can divide it into sections or however you want.
Sure. However you want. Let's go ahead and start. I know
Okay.
that I had some people really excited about this webinar, and
Okay.
some people might not be here, but we do want to thank you for joining us, and it's going to be in our Facebook, so feel free to send us questions. Go ahead, Rebecca, because you're going to be doing the share
You
screen.
want to? Okay, I will screen
Yeah,
share right now.
screen share, yeah.
And are we up?
Yes, we are.
No.
There we are. Yeah.
Seeing a full slide, just the constellations to cash,
Oh,
three
wow.
stellar astrology secrets to your own powerful product launch when
Okay.
falls.
Awesome.
And I always like to start it out with Mahatma Gandhi. I just think he was an absolutely powerful man. And he's got the quote that there is a force in the universe which, if we permit it, will flow through us and produce miraculous results. And so in this, I try to show how multifaceted astrology is and how you can use it for business, especially when it comes to timing. And alignment, aligning to your purpose has a whole lot to do with how you up level. People don't connect with somebody that isn't that doesn't show up authentically.
Mm-hmm.
We've all had the used car salesman persona uh, before us before, and it's just an intuitive feeling. And so when you really are in alignment with who you are, it's you're more genuinely accepted. And of course, when that happens, that's when you are able to have abundance in all areas of your life, including money.
Mm.
And I want everybody to know that astrology just isn't for the newspapers. um, it just cracks me up, and I read them too. I really do. But it just that's such a small part, and sometimes it hits, and sometimes it doesn't. Astrology has been used for so many different areas, and when you talk with a professional astrologer, they're going to look deep into all the places of your chart as well as what's coming up for you. So when that happens, it's easy to pinpoint the challenges and find out when you are able to help your children and so forth. What I deal with business people is the electional astrology or the timing. So I look through and see, as far as with the numerology, I see what days are fortunate, as well as look at the various phases of the moon. If anything in the current sky is triggering anything in the person's chart. So that gets real, real intricate. But the common person that doesn't have all the years behind them that I do in astrology can use these principles. And the first one is the phases of the moon. So it really is, it's an ancient art, but I remember when my grandfather would plant his garden and his crops by the Farmer's Almanac and looking at the moon phases. The Farmer's Almanac is available online now, which I didn't know until I went into looking at this, but it is. So if anybody wants to go out online and check that out, it's there. We're going to be talking about the waxing and waning moon, And to kind of capsulate, I took a full hour on this slide progression here. I'm not going to take that long because I do want to get to some readings for people. But when the moon is, we just had a beautiful full moon. When the moon is dark, that is usually the time you want to sit back and think up new ideas and so forth. As the moon grows fuller in light, that is when you want to start bringing your projects out. When it comes to a full moon, you should pretty much have all that in place and have done it. And then as the light decreases, so does your project or whatever, and that's another time to start digging back into when you want to look at what is working for you, what is not, and get back into the remodeling of it again. So there really is a cycle to it.
Oh, wow. So right now, what we have the full moon. What would you consider that? It's the time to start
As the moon
planning?
goes on from here, now is
Mm-hmm.
the time that we would want to start looking at what didn't go so well when we brought our projects out, and get, do some house cleaning with them, do some re-looking at whether it is the contracts or just kind of remodeling what didn't work for you when you did
Mm-hmm.
bring it into the light. And the
Okay.
void of course moon, I know a lot of people don't know what that is astrologically. We definitely pay attention to that, especially if I were to be doing a chart for somebody's launch or, looking at a time to bring a book out or do a speech. So here you have the sun would be on the left of this picture, and of course the new moon, where it is fully dark, um, progresses this way towards the waxing crescent. I would say the best time to really bring out a project is when it is between day 4 and 5 or day 9 and 10 after the dark moon. And this
Mm.
this first area, as the moon is growing light into full, is when you want to be um, bringing yourself or your project or whatever it is you're doing out into the full light. By the time it hits the full moon, the light starts to wane and it goes back onto the new moon again, which is the perfect time to sit back and do masterminds and do kind of planning and thinking of new ideas and so forth, and then the cycle starts again.
Mm.
So in the zodiac, the moon takes about 2.5 days to go through a sign and about 28 days to cycle through all of the signs of the zodiac. So um, every month it goes through all these. And I tell people the moon has been shown scientifically to regulate the tide system. Well, our bodies are like 75%, give or take, of water. And so we're definitely going to be affected by the moon. And all you have to do is go into an emergency room or up onto a labor deck where women are giving birth, and those people know when it's a full moon even if they're not watching for it because they have to staff extra for it. They do. They totally do.
Wow.
Yeah. So, rule of thumb, start a business or a major project as the light is growing if you want more longevity in your business.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good idea, if I were looking at it astrologically, straight across or 180 degrees is not necessarily good, but that only has an orb of about 5 to 8 degrees, so it doesn't, as fast as the moon moves, it doesn't take long to get out of that 180 degree range or that 90 degree range.
Mm-hmm.
So ideal is 5 days after a new moon or 10 days after in that area. If you were planning something that you wanted to do public, like you were giving a talk or something, that would be ideal. There are other
Okay.
things that you need to take into consideration. Um, it doesn't mean that it's doomed to fail, but you know, it's always easier if you can work with the heavens rather than going against them.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
because there's so many other factors that really do play into it. So the second secret is using the elements. Now, everybody's heard pretty much all these signs of the zodiac, but when you're dealing with the elements like fire, the when you have a prominent fire sign, or if the moon is in a fire sign, you're going to find you'll be doing a lot of action. Earth is a very grounded feeling to it. Air is more mental and more coming up with ideas. And the water is has to deal more with, it's more emotional, it's more intuitive and more feeling. So you'll find when the moon is going through these particular spots, that that's kind of the feel of the day. In other words, if you had a brick and mortar shop and the sun was in one of the water signs, people would probably buy because it feels good to them,
Mm.
which gives a whole new, you know, a whole new slant onto when you would want to talk and how your audience is receiving you and so forth. Shall we just move through this, or do you want to take a break?
Sure.
No?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
This is exciting.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
glad you're enjoying it. So
I really love it.
secret number 3 is good old Mercury retrograde, and we have all had to deal with Mercury retrograde. As a matter of fact, we've got one going on as we speak. And
Right now.
yeah, and you know, what I want to say is that no planet really moves backwards. And Mercury retrograde, it doesn't really move back. What happens is it's kind of like when you're on a highway and you're going, let's say, 65 miles an hour, and a car comes alongside of you and passes you going 70, and then slows down and drops back to 60 and then speeds up again. At that point, they look like they're moving backwards,
Mm.
when in reality it is our perspective. Now, what I want to say about this is right at the point, I lost my arrow, right at the point of where it stations retrograde and then it stations direct again, that is when it's at the most potent. So right when it starts its retrograde, and then right when it starts moving forward again. So, you know, you have a situation of there's, it gets such a bad rap. And granted, Mercury is the trickster planet. It is the trickster of the universe. Um, it deals with things like electronics. Your phone's going to, you know, poop out on you, or the car isn't going to start, or, you know, because it's moving, considered moving backwards, you're going to hear from people you haven't heard from in a long time. But some of the ways that you can use this energy is to go back and correct mistakes. Like if you were having a, let's say your business was having a group of people, like a monthly meeting, and it happened to be a Mercury retrograde, it would not be the time to bring out new plans. What you would want to be doing is looking over what you've already done and how that has served you, but also what has kind of slipped through the cracks. You want to go back and examine those things.
Mm.
So, so it's really, you know, a good time to look at whether all the T's have been crossed and the I's have been dotted and so forth. So, and you know, I have a class coming up and I go way deeper into all of this so people can understand how to use it better. But that's kind of it in a nutshell for those 3 little secrets. I did want to show here where the planets, if you were to look at the heavens, how you see the moon and so forth. Chiron here is an asteroid. I like looking at the position of Chiron. It's called the wounded healer, and I find it is very much an important piece to look at when doing that. But this would
Mm.
be kind of looking at the heavens here. And as an astrologer, we bring in the astrology map, so to speak, or the chart. And this is where I look at the numbers, like Uranus over here is at 13 degrees. 3 and 1 adds up to 4. If I found a lot of other 4s, like there's a 4, Chiron is at a 4. When you look at a lot of the other numbers, if that person had 4s in their birth date and their destiny number and so forth, I would get a real hint as to what are some of the things that are their strengths and are not their strengths.
Hmm.
So it's
So so the Chiron would what information, because you said it's the wounded healer, right? Did you say
right.
that? So
Yeah.
what would that mean if when you're looking at that piece of information with that, I think it had a 13.
Yeah. Chiron here, what I would look at in this particular chart, which this is the chart for October the 28th. This is coming up. And the reason I
Mm-hmm.
chose this chart is because I really like the position of the moon in relationship to the sun. That particular positioning would be a good time for a person to do a launch. That is what I
Mm.
look at. Now, Chiron is if Chiron were sitting on top of, if the current Chiron in the sky was triggering somebody's natal chart, then I would know that they are going through some issues that are probably reminding them of some deep wounds. And it's usually an opportunity to take a look at those wounds and heal those wounds. But even more, it's about where we have been the most wounded is where we have the most to give because we have that insight.
That's powerful to know.
Oh, it's
Because a lot of times as business owners or just, living our lives, we're so focused on our strength and we fail to look at that wounded healer, or the challenges that we have, those weaknesses that we need to work on. And I think that being able to find them is also a good thing because you're able to recognize it and say, okay, what do I need to work on, let go, release, or heal, you know?
and what I find is that a lot of people, once they step into being authentic on a soul level and who they really are, if they have been able to heal those wounds, they can easily recognize it in other people, and they know what kind of compassion it takes to help
Mhm.
them heal as well. So it's definitely a win-win when a person looks at these aspects, and the whole, I mean, the sky is full of them, and it's
Oh,
constantly
yeah.
changing, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome stuff, I'll tell you.
Mm. Well,
I do.
also, I mean, I don't know, I think this would also be an important moment to make that whatever is happening this month and whatever whatever goals we have, and if we begin to refine them, they're going to be also activated next year, right? Because of the year 2015 adding to the 8, which is a very powerful number and deals with business, deals with money.
It does.
So,
It does. Absolutely.
so this
And,
is the time to really refine them, right? And learn more about that astrology piece.
and October is a huge month. We've got two eclipses, and they're both extremely powerful. And I've actually got charts at the end of this slide deck here that have that one for the solar eclipse and one for the lunar eclipse. But the thing about an eclipse is that it can last up to 6 months long. It The
Mm-hmm.
effect of it really projects out. So you want to be aware of it so that you're able to use it. It's very empowering when you have the knowledge, you're aware of it. We've always got choices. We can respond, we can react, or we can appease, which means we just sit on the couch and let it pass by. So you don't want to be in the position of where you are reacting, because then it is a knee jerk. It's not an empowering move at all. You want to be in the position of where you are responding. That implies a conscientious choice to do whatever it is you're going to do. And if you have got the tools like astrology and numerology to give you the insight as to what you're dealing with, I mean, how powerful is that?
Mm, it is very powerful. And
Yeah,
sometimes I don't like what I see, but you know, it helps me and guides me to understand what's happening in my surrounding and like you said, being able to respond differently and make different decisions because almost all our outcomes are based on decisions. So
hmm,
when you consciously make a decision, it's going to impact you in a different way and you're going to be in your power rather than just making decisions just because things are coming your way and you think that that's how you have to live, that
yeah,
this circumstance happened and then you're just going to live and go with the flow of life when you can actually begin to make different choices based on these planets. And I think connecting with you is really, really powerful because, I mean, you've helped me also
well, thank you.
with the readings, so I think it's powerful.
Yeah, it's huge. And I'd like, karma is such a buzzword now. All karma is just the product of a choice, and that can feel positive, that can feel negative. In order to change your karma, all you have to do is change your choices. Just make a new decision. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have to pay off your credit cards, because when you've made that decision, sometimes you have to make the decision right.
Yeah.
You know. But anyway, I have this little question going on of for 1,400 businesses that went bankrupt, all have one commonality astrologically. And the same thing for all these presidential candidates and presidents who either had a problem, resigned, got almost impeached, and so forth. Um, I cover this in the class that I'm going to be giving, but it's really important to pay attention to this stuff. It just really is. Um, we Not a lot of people know that a lot of presidents have used astrology, not to mention the royal family, um, Hollywood. Hollywood, all the dates that they come up with, there are no accidents when they plan that stuff. But I'm going to go through constellations to cash. I've got this course coming up, if it's okay to share.
Sure. Uh-huh.
Awesome. It goes into these these three areas that I just discussed: the moon phases, the elements, and Mercury retrograde. I go much deeper into it so people have a clearer understanding, as well as do some Q&A so that we can, clear up whatever questions people have. And then we're going to talk about how it affects the personal charts and how these the moon phases and the elements and Mercury retrograde and so forth deals with the business charts. Now, I'm putting in a bonus where I will mail each person a astrological printout plus a live 20-minute session with me. That alone is a $127 value, and you get to claim it through abundanceastrologer.com/course, and it's going to cost $197.
Mm.
So yeah, I wanted
It's
to
Go ahead. It sounds exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I've already had people sign up for it, so um, it's getting close. We're going to start it on the 27th of October, so it's just a
Okay.
few weeks away. And
Hmm.
I think most people know who J.P. Morgan is, the Chase Bank person. He said anybody can become a millionaire, but to become a billionaire, you need an astrologer.
Oh, that's a powerful quote.
I know, isn't it though?
Yeah, and I have an astrologer. You.
Yeah, yeah, yes, you do.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? I always tell people it doesn't matter that you're an expert in a field. We all need each other. I mean, even superheroes
Oh my
need help.
goodness. Oh my
Every
goodness.
superhero needs help. And even as an astronumerologist, I mean, I need you. I need someone else to help me to look at things because sometimes I have my thoughts, my perceptions, my beliefs, and they're getting in the way. But when you look at it through a different glasses and you're like, hey, this is what I'm seeing, you know?
Mhm.
So it's powerful to get other people, even if you're an expert, you need to find um, another expert that is brighter, equal, or even higher than your knowledge so they can help you move forward.
I will always have a coach, whether it
Yeah.
is another astrologer, numerologist, somebody to help me with my business, because it's you are you are the hardest person for you to see, you know. So
Hmm.
even though I'm fluent on numerology and astrology, and I get I can get so wrapped up in doing other people's stuff that I forget to look at my own. And
Hmm.
when somebody else points it out to me that is, one of my peers, is like, oh yeah, huh? Guess I better step into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So this is
that's
the lunar
right.
eclipse that we just had yesterday, and if you'll notice, we have a string of numbers. We have 14, 15, 16, and 17. Anytime you see a string of numbers like that, you know it's a rock solid important event. And this particular full moon did have a grand trine. You see the big triangle there, which gives it a lot of support. It's also got Uranus, which is good for insights right here. And just the fact that the moon, little Miss Emotional Moon, was in Aries means now is the time to be thinking of what kind of action are you going to take in your life? What are you going to be planning on and doing and so forth? We are moving towards the dark. The moon has moved away. It was full last night. So we're about maybe 10 to 15 degrees away from the position of where it's at here, which puts it up into, where's my arrow? Oh, come on. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll move on to the solar eclipse. Anyway,
Yeah.
anyway.
And I want to add that that 15 is really powerful because it represents the spiritual alchemist. So people can
You're right.
also know that there's a lot of transformation that's going to be taking place.
There is, and when you've got Uranus involved there,
Mm.
you've got Pluto over here at 11 degrees. All of it is totally about transformation.
All of
So
it.
it's, I always tell people be careful what you think because we're really in a manifesting time right
Oh
now.
my God, yes.
It's huge, and you want to keep your thoughts positive for not only the people around you to uplift them, but for yourself as well. So
Hmm.
it definitely starts at home. But I'm so glad you understand astrology and numerology. You really bring a lot to the table when I'm doing these.
I just love it.
Yeah, it's amazing. So
Everything I see all the time, I see numbers, I'm adding them, and I'm like, what does it add up to? What does it mean?
So you're very much aware of the 4 energy for the 23rd.
Yes.
We have a 4 here, 22 adds up to 4, 17 adds up to 8. Both of those are in the manifesting triad.
Wow.
Neptune is up here at 4 degrees, Chiron is at 13.4, and Uranus is at 13.4. And that is during the solar eclipse. And the solar eclipse happens at 0 degrees. And it just so happens that Venus right here is in the mix as well. So all 3 of those planets are on the same degree. Now, 0 is very representative of divine, the divine watching over all of us. It is the beginning and the end and all that is. And just the fact that it's happening in Scorpio, huge.
Wow.
Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. That is very much transformation. Pluto is represented by the phoenix rising out of the ashes and soaring into the sky and becoming an eagle. So anything that we really want to manifest, we can do so in a big way if we're paying attention. Now, for people that are not flexible and open to transforming and using this kind of alchemy, they get stiff, and that's when the tension comes in. And when people don't understand their emotions around all of this is usually when trouble strikes.
Mm-hmm.
So if
Wow.
this particular configuration hits on somebody's chart, or whatever house it hits in is the area of their life that they're going to feel it in.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's really powerful, though.
it is huge. It truly is. Back to you and I here. Take my,
Yeah.
there, we should be back.
Yay. That was
Okay.
really powerful.
Okay.
And I
Thank
think that
you.
the moon phases really catches my attention because I've been working and really studying the life cycle on how everything just moves through different stages. And so
Yep.
that's something that catches my interest. So
There
now,
for us to use.
what is
So
it?
I said the tools are there for us to use,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Oh, yeah.
So
So do
ah,
you have some, I know we had some people, let me see, um, we might just use a sample if you want.
sure.
Um, where's the chat box here? So that you can give us an example. I know that people were excited and they wanted to be on a hot seat, and I don't know, where is it? I can't. So let's see, what question can we come up and kind of show them an example of what they can look for? Do you have another example?
Um,
Or were you going to get birthdays or what?
and share again if you want me. Oops, let's see. How am I going to do that? Okay, so this right here is an astrology chart that I pulled up for the time of the start of our show tonight. And
Mm-hmm.
I found it really interesting that the moon is in the first house. You see where the position of the moon now. It's moved all the way over from 15 degrees Aries here into Taurus already. And just the fact that the moon is in Taurus gives a much more grounded feeling. The moon rules the emotions, and so when the moon is going through Taurus, people may feel a little. There can be that stubbornness, that bringing out of the horns and digging in their heels, so to speak. But at the same time, it's very much about comforting yourself and taking care of your own environment. And if Taurus had a business, that person would probably want to be something like a banker, somebody that would be taking care of finances and so forth.
Okay.
We do currently have Jupiter 17 degrees. 17 adds up to 8. 8 is a very much of a manifesting money number. Jupiter is kind of the guardian angel of the zodiac. What Jupiter does is enlarges whatever is there. So if you are manifesting, you can count on Jupiter. If it is triggering one of your own planets, you can count on Jupiter to even make it that much larger. At the same time, if it's triggering something that you're having difficulty with, it can lean into drama a little bit,
Mm.
you know. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Currently, Mercury retrograde is at 0 degrees Scorpio. He will be moving backwards, and then as he moves forward, he will be going back he will move back from Libra into Scorpio. Currently, we have, let's see here, Mars is in Sagittarius. Mars is the groundbreaker, trailblazer to him, and being in Sagittarius, it definitely gives more energy towards people that want to explore reality more. It also brings in a sense of humor. I would
Mm-hmm.
say that Sagittarius sometimes can be a little klutzy, so if Mars is triggered and there's a little bit of anger there or something like that, you might end up tripping over your own feet. That sort of thing, especially if it triggered something in your own chart. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any birth dates that we could look at?
Well, let's look at 5/22/64.
And do you have a birth time
4:30 a.m.
and place?
That one is Nuevo Laredo, Mexico.
Uh-oh, you're going to have to spell that.
Nuevo, and then Laredo, Laredo, and then Mexico.
Okay, so this person has, let's see, May 22nd, 1964, 4:30 a.m., Nuevo Laredo, Mexico. This person has Jupiter right at the beginning of coming into the first house. And you'll notice the first house cusp is at 7 degrees. Jupiter here is at 9 degrees. So it's 2 degrees into the first house. This person here has a very likable personality, uh, very philosophical, very almost has a good luck charm with them whenever they're in big trouble. And if you notice here, Jupiter is in Taurus, and that's a very grounded place. Mars is also there at 11 degrees. If you notice Mars being in the first house, Mars normally rules the first house. And this just happens to be 11 degrees. 11 is a master number, and when I look at something like this, especially for a little Mr. Trailblazer, Mars, being at 11 degrees, that trailblazing person is going to be constantly stepping through new doorways, not knowing what's on the other side, but it's almost as though they have to clear a path for other people.
Mm.
So it's a very, very cool spot to have the Mars, and just the 11 itself tells me. And you look over here, the Pluto is at 11 degrees Virgo. So Pluto is trine this 11 degrees Mars exactly. Both of them are 11 degrees. And transformation is huge. Transforming others, playing a transformation, being an empowering person to bring other people into their own authenticity. It's just a really, really strong aspect to have those two in harmony. Very beautiful, beautiful little morsel there.
Mm.
The sun is at 1 degree,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in Gemini. One is instant manifestation. This person is probably quite the talker, probably communicating, and probably enjoys. You know, I would say. Let me look here. I would say they really enjoy bringing their own personality out to share with others, and they've got a very streetwise sort of sense to them. So when I'm doing off-the-cuff readings with people, I look at the North and South node, and these two, it's just a place in the elliptical, excuse me, the elliptical path of the moon circling the Earth. And where the equator. Now, when I look at the positions in a person's birth chart like this, I look at the south node, which is the horseshoe like this, that is kind of like a cup. That's usually what a person came in with, and this person is very, very grounded. Probably has a pretty good sense of business. It's at 3 degrees. I would say they're very creative. Also very much of a communicator. Now the direction that they need to go towards, which is the north node here, is at 3 degrees Cancer. I would stress for this person to really, first of all, they enjoy their home. Their home is their sanctuary. When they get wounded, that's where they go to kind of lick their wounds before they come back out again. Is this person a male or female?
Female.
Female. This person would be very much of a caretaker, like to nurture other people. What is key for them is to nurture themselves. And you see the 3 and 5, the 5 position of Mercury here.
Mm-hmm.
They enjoy helping women nurture themselves. I would say in order for this person to do that, which is really what they should be doing, they need to nurture themselves 100% before they do that, and then spill over what's left to the people around them so that they don't get depleted themselves. So let's see here. We also have an interesting, this is Uranus at 5 degrees and Saturn, which rules Capricorn, at 4 degrees Pisces. Now, Pisces is not necessarily a strong position for Capricorn to be in, which is because it's opposite Uranus. I would say that this person, there are times when probably um, their business or their finances have a tendency to, there might be some issues that take them by surprise that they don't know about, especially because of the Pisces influence. Um, they might have to. It's kind of like looking. It's kind of like trying to keep things in sight and clear and keep a good handle on them. They have to. They always feel like they have to be prepared for something that's going to take them by surprise.
Mm.
So, and when I look at the position of Chiron, I would say that the person's spirituality at one point, their connection to the divine energy may have been challenged, especially around a group energy, which that is where they really need to, um, once that's healed, they have so much to give to the group energy, especially with the Sun at 1 degrees Gemini and the Mars in uh, the first house here. And, you've got Mercury right almost on the cusp of the ascendant. So all of that it's a this is a very magnetic person that has a lot to give in a lot of areas. A lot of areas. So that's kind of an off the cuff.
Wow. Wow. Well, that's great.
Let me
Hold
bring.
on. Go ahead.
I was going to stop my screen sharing here so I can get you back.
Okay.
All right, I think we're there.
Yay. Well, that
Yeah.
was just wonderful. For those of you that are out there, and I mean, I think this was an amazing reading. You get a lot of information, and this information really guides you, like we said at the beginning and during this whole webinar. It helps you make decisions that will help you respond better to situations, or um, maybe you want to have a better understanding of something that you're not sure what path to take. Well, I recommend that you highly, highly connect with Rebecca Hansen. She's going to give you also the website if you want to give it to them again so that they can connect with you.
You bet. It's abundanceastrologer.com. And you can sign up for my newsletters there. I usually have a lot going on. I try to send out, keep people up to date, especially during like full moons and new moons and times that are lots of times stressful for people. I can kind of give them an idea as to what's coming up so that they know how to react to it so that they are in choice and empowered rather than respond because they're blindsided.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, abundanceastrologer.com.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if you're really interested in learning more about astrology, and she was talking about the phases of the moon, I mean, I think that's beautiful information to know, especially if you're creating a business and you're a business person, because it's going to help you understand when to create, when to refine, when to move forward with your goals and your plans that you're setting or that you're coming up with for your business. I think that her 6-week course is really empowering. It's going to help you get into your power and leverage your business in big ways. So take advantage of this course. It's going to start October 27th.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to enroll now. Take
Yeah.
action today.
Yeah, and just go to abundanceastrologer.com/course, and you'll be taken right straight to the page where you because I will be mailing out the printout and enrolling you at a time so that I can spend 20 minutes live with you as well. So that's a huge, just the bonus alone is worth enrolling in the course. It really is. It can be really life changing. Yeah.
It is. So I really, really want to thank you for joining me today. And I mean, I learned a lot, and I'm hoping that you're also walking away with something very, very important. If you didn't get to be on the hot seat, you need to join us next time so that you can be on the hot seat and you can walk away with information. Connect with us on Facebook and ask us questions there. Um, Also, I want to invite those of you that want to join me Saturday at 10 to 12. We have the Match Entrepreneur Networking where I'm going to have people live here and they're going to come and we're going to be able to network, and at the same time we're going to be able to work with our bio, which we're going to incorporate our story. So do you know your story? And if you're not including it in when you're introducing yourself and making it part of your business, I think that you're leaving something very, very important behind, and that's how people connect with you. So
Yeah.
connect with me Saturday so that we can really refine your story and you can incorporate it uh, in your business and share it whenever you have that 30-second speech. So join us, and thank you again for joining me here with Rebecca. And I had a
Cool.
blast, Rebecca.
You
And
did
thank you,
more.
everybody. And like I always say, be weird, be amazing, and step into your greatness so that you could be in your power. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye, Rebecca.
Bye bye.